Hello, everybody. I am going to quickly go over our last coverage in our check coverage package. So I'll review what we've talked about and then go straight into our new stuff. So we've talked about black so far against two back sets. We've talked about white coverage against 3x1 sets or unbalanced sets. And we haven't gone over this in practice at all, I don't think. But if we had an unbalanced set, just say like, we would consider anything if they only had two guys to this side and they put an extra tight end over here, plus they had their three receivers over here. We would consider this an unbalanced set. Really, when the tackle is the last guy on the line of scrimmage over here and they have their eligible receivers all on this side of the center, we would consider that unbalanced and we would treat it the same as trips. Okay, so we'll treat unbalanced and trips the same way. So we check white, two backs for right now, we're checking black. And then the last one that we're going to talk about is 2x2 sets. That means there's two receivers on either side. We are going to check Mustangs. And this is going to be our 3-5 look. So just very similar to white. Okay, the rover is going to insert into the strong side, and he's going to be in the box, and he is going to shift over the Sam, who is now going to be head up, stacked up with the nose, and then the will bump outside. And I got some diagrams for you to look at that'll make a little bit more sense. This is going to allow us to get 8 guys in the box. It's going to really allow us to keep the jobs the same for a lot of guys. But give the offense a different look. And sometimes that can screw up their blocking schemes. It can screw up their pass reads and so on and so on. So we'll take a look at that. So again, right now, if we call check coverage, if they came out 2x1, we would check black. If they come out 3x1 or unbalanced, we would check white. If they come out 2x2, meaning there's two receivers on eligible receivers on either side of the center, we would call that Mustang is what we would check. See if I can get my face out of here. Oh, there we go. I'm going to get this bigger here. All right. So, like I said, very similar to white in that the rover is going to roll down. The free is going to move to the middle of the field. Job is the same for the corner in Mustang as it is in white. Same thing over here. Same thing for the free. Really, the difference now is the rover, instead of inserting down between, if we had three receivers, right, and inserting down here, he is going to insert and he's going to become essentially an extra linebacker at 5 yards. And we're going to put him in a 50 technique to start. So that would be a 5 technique, would be outside shade of the tackle. Remember, for linebackers or the second level, we just add a 0. So a 0 from a nose would be a double 0 from a Sam. A 5 from a defensive end would be a 50 for a linebacker. So the rover, let's see, it's 2x2. He's going to come down. He's going to say Mustang, Mustang. That's going to prompt the Sam, who is usually in a 30, to move over to a double 0, and the will to bump out into a 50 technique. As you can see, for these guys up front, nothing changes. These guys are both going to be on. Okay, if it is a pass, the rover and the will drop curl to flat. Remember, outside zone out here is the flat. Then we've got curl. Then we've got hook. Then we've got the middle of the field would be the hole. Okay, and it's the same thing on this side. Hook, curl, flat. So that being said, the rover, and we always work inside out. So the rover would start working curl in this area. And then if he had no threat there, he would work to the flat. Now we got to base it off of where is number 2. If he's tighter, I probably don't need to go further unless he takes me out there as a threat. Okay, so other than that, everything is the same. Okay, we would be C-gap fitters in the run game here, a C-gap fitter in the run game here. And this Sam is working on a line with the nose, right? The nose is going to try and get to the play side A-gap. One of these guys, right, he'll be stacked in trying to play the play side A-gap and be ready to fall back into the backside A-gap. So he's really just going to stack He's going to track and stack is what we like to say. So whichever way the ball starts going, he's fighting to get there. He's fighting to stack with the nose. And if the ball cuts back, he's got to be aware that he's got to stack, track, fall back. From another look, okay, so we said 2 by 2. So if you notice in this look, we have a double tight end set, right? But there's 1, 2. Same thing over here. There's 1, 2. So we'd call this a 2 by 2 set because there's 2 receivers on either side of the formation. Same thing over here now. We've got a double set. I think maybe our offense calls this ace, but 2 on each side. 2 is detached. Okay, it's going to be the same exact look that we do if there was a tight end. However, the only difference now is we'll widen out the stud in the quick just a little bit to about apex position. And we say apex is splitting the end man on the line of scrimmage and the number 2 receiver. So he'll be apexed. And as the as the quarterback starts going in his cadence, then they can start to tighten up their alignment because they're still going to be on and rushing. If you can hear my dog going crazy, sorry about that. But it's going to be apex alignment to start, and you can be off the ball a little bit. And as the center or the quarterback starts going through his cadence, ready, set, and he can start to be moving up, and we're still going to blitz the quarterback. We're going to come in from a wider angle. Okay, the reason that we're going to widen you out here is we're going to give the illusion that these guys are covering them, even though they're not. We're going to give the illusion that these guys are covered. Okay, and so they'll start in an apex position. That means half the distance between 2 and the end man, half the distance between the end man and 2, and then they can creep towards that tackle as they go through the cadence. And that's if number 2 is removed. Pass responsibilities are all the same. Deep third, deep middle third, deep outside third, on. Nothing changes in here depending on the front we give you. Remember, we have pinch right now, which is you're ripping into the gap. We have knockback technique playing the front side A gap, or we have tight where we're knocking back, going through this guy, then playing our gap, going through and then playing our gap. Okay, the fits here would be the same. These guys make sure nothing gets outside of them. Nothing gets outside of them. Okay, and lastly, we have a combination of the two, right? We have 2 removed. He's going to start in an apex position, and then he's going to creep up during the cadence. If there's a tight end, you can line up outside the tight end. Okay, nothing changes here. We got essentially playing cover 3 behind it, and we got a curl the flat, hole, curl the flat player. So all that really changes is the alignment for the Rover, the Sam, and the Will. Okay, I'll show you guys some clips from, this isn't against 2 by 2 sets, but this is how we did it at the high school level, and we saw it versus something we liked against Woodbury a couple years back. So you'll see we played it a little bit differently, but the structure is all the same. Stud, tackle, nose, and quick. We have our Rover inserted to the strong side, our Sam, and our Will. Free is over the top, corner, corner. Okay, you'll see how this thing fits up from behind. So 21 is our Rover. You can see he's kind of lined in between the, he's in a 5 technique. Here's the tackle. They had wide splits. We're playing a tight front. 4-eye here, 4-eye here. Nose is in a 0. Sam's in a 0-0. Our Will is bumped outside of the tackle. Okay, they motion. We just stayed in it. You'll see this gap just opens up for 21. He plays through the gap. Stud is doing a good job. I'm going to go back to the wide angle. Stud does a good job of keeping everything, making sure he's outside of everything. He should be rushing more and attacking. I don't know why he's running off the line like that, but he needs to do a good job of staying outside of everything. Okay, same thing, same team. Quick and nose, tackle, Stud, Rover, Sam, Will. Okay, you'll see him try and run the ball against us. I would like to see these outside backer right here do a better job of attacking this and keeping his outside arm and leg free. Regardless, he stays outside of it. You can see the fit right here from our Will. He's inside. He's in that C gap. And our Sam, you'll see from the end zone view. Oh, we don't have it, but the Sam does a good job getting to the play side A gap, flowing, sees it, runs through, makes a tackle. Oh, whoops. That's not what I want. All right, disregard that. And one more here. You'll see. We wouldn't necessarily align like this, but this is where you can see that stud now is playing outside. He's a little bit far outside. I would say he could be right here, a little bit closer. And now you'll see him close his gap right there, staying outside of everything. We're playing pinch here, so he rips into his gap. Rips into his gap, goes to the tackle, misses, needs to do a better job tackling, but we get a lot of white jerseys sprinting to the football. It puts us in a good spot. Okay. Now we could, if we wanted to, play black against two tight end sets just as easily. Our alignment would be just like our normal black alignment with two backs, right? Lined up over the tight end, lined up over the tight end, on. These guys got the back out their way. Corners man on number one. So we are going to have our main call, our main check against 2x2 be Mustang, where he's bumping over, he's right here. However, we could play black against this too. Okay, we could say we want to play black, keep these two safeties high, get 9 in the box. I put these ones in because oh gosh, why does that keep happening? Get out of here. Because if we had, I don't necessarily like this formation. Let's see if we get a better one. Nope. But even if the number 2 guy was a wing, we would treat him like a tight end. What in the world? Okay, and you can see how black would fit up against a 2 tight end set. This guy should be tighter in the box. Our rover's in a good spot here. But against the pass, you would see how that would work. Okay, here's, again, we would treat these wings like tight ends, playing black just like we would against 2 backs, except for now they both have a tight end, so they both have tight ends vertical and out. Safeties are man on number 1. Corners are man on number 1. Safeties have number 2, vertical and out. Inside backers have back out their way. You can see what that would look like here. Both safeties do a good job on top. And one against the run. So we have a tight end over here, wing back here. We treat this like a 2x2. 1, 2, 1, 2. We're playing black to it. He's got here, 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 and here. And the last one, same thing. We got a 2x2 set. We considered him a tight end. And you can see kind of what this looks like here. So again, we are going to check to Mustang. If we get a 2x2 set, that's our main check. I just showed those black clips because maybe down the road, one of our coaches says, hey, instead of we play a double tight end team or a double wing team, we want to give them 2 looks. We want to be able to play black against it, and we want to play Mustang against it. We have the option to do both. For right now, all we need to know is 2x2 set. We are going to play Mustang. All right, that is all I got for you guys. I'm excited to get practice started again tomorrow, and I will see you then. Bye.